how good this C63 Coupé is. I can never win, can I? Guys, we're here for a very special video today. It's all about the production of the AMG GT and the AMG GT R Pro, and we are actually going to see my own GT R Pro on the production line. To get this honor, it's mind-blowing for me. I don't think I deserve it, but hopefully through me, you other Mercedes Benz and AMG passionate customers can enjoy this very exclusive look, a world first, at the production of the GT two-door. So now, as usual, whenever I teleport to Germany, I'm getting soaked. So let's go inside and have a look at the GT and the GT R Pro in production. So guys, this is the building where the GTs are produced. We're going to head in now and take a look how the GT R Pro, the GTR, and all those cars are produced by hand. This is an incredible moment. We're at the start of the AMG GT two-door production line. If you look over here, we've got the aluminium space frame. Now we're going to tell you a little bit about this. It's not the most common way to make a sports car, but it's excellent for rigidity, it's excellent for lightweight materials. You can see it here in Magno Green Hell, the classic GTR color. But what I want to show you is how that differs, which is a normal GTR, to a Pro. Now we've got a Pro over here. How do I know it's a Pro compared to the GTR? Well, the biggest giveaway is this section here. Now, as you guys know, if you've seen my video on the Pro, you get kind of the louvers on top, much like the GT3 car or the AMG Project One. That's kind of how you identify the Pro against, say, a normal GTS or the GTR. So quite fascinating just to see just that bare difference in the chassis itself compared to the GTR, because you can kind of ignore these things, but they're quite important. So the chassis then move from here to the first stage where you get the insulation and the wiring, and I'll show you kind of what that looks like. Again, just focus on the fact that all of this is being done by hand. There are no robots. In fact, when it comes to the AMG GT, there's only one robot involved in the entire process that's doing anything on the car itself, and that is the one that applies the glue for the windscreen. Everything else is done by teams of people. And if you've ever seen the AMG engine building production line, you know it's one man, one engine. Here, it feels very much the same in the way that the car is built. And you will see that as a theme as we go through this video and show you how the GT R Pro is built from start to finish. And you can see what the car starts off as. This is exactly where the production line starts, but it's also where the production line finishes. So if you look over here, we've got an AMG GT R Pro like the one that we've come to look at today. In its finished state, it's got the wheels on there. There's only a few things left to do before it goes to its final station for final checks. And you can see there's a lot of people around it. This is not your typical production line. You won't see the line moving as you would a typical one. Instead, you've got teams of people working on the AMG GT. And as I said earlier, this car is a lot more hand-built than you might assume. So we're going to take a look around some key areas, including even the marriage of the car, and just show you just how special it is in terms of the way that it's produced compared to even other Mercedes Benz. Forget about the rivals. The shell that we were just looking at has now gone on the line, as you saw, but right next to it, we've got an almost finished GTR Roadster. Now that's going to be lifted and it's going to get its wheels over here. You can see the wheels on the station. Yummy. Right, now we're going to have a look at, very quickly, dashboard assembly. So the dashboard of the GT, as you guys remember, very iconic. This is kind of the main piece of it. So the strut brace goes behind it. Then we get kind of the air conditioning bits behind it that fix into that piece, and then the leather covering is on the other side, which I'll show you in close-up. And that's, again, all done by hand. And then it goes over to the line again, where it's affixed by two men rather than a robot arm that you normally see in other production, like we showed you on the GT four-door. And it's affixed by two guys straight into the car by hand. Doors are then removed at this stage, and the dashboard is one of the first parts to go in. As you can see, the doors being stored later here. Something very cool as I'm walking through, you can see the doors of the SLS Gullwing up here, signed by everyone who was involved within the manufacture of that car here. Obviously everyone very proud. It's really nice to see that up here. Guys, someone's just said that they've spotted my car. Oh my God, that's my actual GTR Pro. This is surreal. I can't believe I'm looking at my actual car. As you can see, guys, it's finished in solar beam yellow. Went for that color because it's iconic GT color, and hopefully it'll bring out the carbon fiber and aerodynamic details that set the Pro apart from the standard GTR. Really can't believe that's my actual one. This is so surreal. I'm so honored. So guys, if you look behind me, the car that's before my car has just moved from that station on the line here towards where the drivetrain is sitting, and now the marriage is happening. So the one after this now is going to be my car. But before that, let's actually go and have a close-up look at my drivetrain on my GTR Pro. Right, got the subframe here. So this is the actual one from my car. Now you can see the engine sits just behind the front axle as well. Speaking of the engine, here it is. So this is my actual 4-litre bi-turbo engine, 585 brake horsepower, 700 Newton meters, not different to the normal GTR in the Pro. The Pro has other differences that we're going to go over later, but look, this is my actual engine. I'm never going to be able to do this again, hopefully. It's crazy. Now, something really important that you get in the GTs as well, the carbon torque tube. Again, this part is specifically for my car as well. And you can kind of see that carbon fiber element running through it as well. Of course, this sits right in the middle of the car. And then on this side, we've got the 7-speed Dct Gearbox, which again is part of my car. I'm going to keep saying that because I can't believe I'm actually looking at parts from my car. And you can see we've got the slippy diff bit in the middle, the actual cogs on this side. And so you can see now they're actually affixing my engine into the drivetrain element. At the back there, we've got the exhaust. How can you tell it's a GTR exhaust? I'll show you now. GTR, as you know, and the Pro, it's got 3 exhausts on the rear. So we've got the 2 on the side, and we've got the large one in the center. That's how you can tell. Look at that view. Just look how amazing it is that we can see this happening. Again, it's all teams of people. No robots here. It's only for the lifting of the large elements of the car. Everything else is being done by hand. So it's really to maintain the quality of the AMG GT, and that's something I don't think enough GT owners probably know about. I didn't know about it until I visited this place 2 years ago. I was shocked just how handmade everything is for the GT. And now I can see my own car being done here. I just made the classic mistake of torque tube and drive shaft. So let's get this right. We've got torque tubes here, 2 very different ones. One is carbon fiber, as you get in the GTR and the GTR Pro, and the other one is not. This is 25 kg, so it's a lot heavier. Let me show you how light this is. And we're actually going to pick this up and put it on the other side. There we go. And I didn't completely screw that up. But how light was that? So we've got a significant weight saving of 40%. And then we've got this part over here again. The drive shaft, carbon fiber. I feel like I could lift that with 2 fingers. That's how light that is. And this is the difference that these things make for the actual handling of the car and the way it behaves when you're driving fast. These little weight savings make a huge difference in a car like the R. Right guys, now talking about components, as I said, engine, very important. Now if you look behind me, we've got approximately 25,000 horsepower standing behind me right now in 4-litre V8 AMG music boxes. Check them out, this is awesome, and this is where we can really appreciate some of the cool tech. Now we've always spoken about the Hot V setup, the bi-turbo, how it makes the 4-litre feel like a naturally aspirated engine, but here we can actually see it. You can see here how the turbos are nestled within the cylinder banks. You've got the covers here, and then something even more interesting, we often talk about dynamic engine mounts and how that allows you to get a more comfortable ride and a stiffer one like a race car if you need it, and how important that is if it's ever an option in a car. Now, of course, in a lot of RS models, it's already standard, but here we can actually see where it is on the engine and what it looks like. So again, this is something that we hardly ever get to see, but it's great to see it physically because it has such a great effect on the handling of the car. Now guys, this is a rare honor. I'm not sure that I deserve it, but the guys here, the team, are so kind that they're allowing me to sign the torque tube with this yellow pen. I'm a little bit overwhelmed, but let's do it anyway. It's quite cool. Right. How do I do my signature? What an honor. I'll never forget this. So guys, now we're going to follow from first person view as my drivetrain moves forward into position. You can see we have the brakes ready on each side. Carbon ceramics finished in black, especially for the Pro. And from the other angle, I'll show you the chassis being brought towards the drivetrain. They're just unlocking it on each side here. Then we're going to follow the solar beam beast across for the marriage. Careful, you robot. That's my car. Now we can see this is the point that we call the marriage. There comes the chassis. There's the drivetrain. That's going to be now lowered. And that is what you call in technical terms the marriage. There we go, the marriage is complete, and now they're going to get everything linked together properly, and then the car is going to move from here, once it's done, back onto the line over there. And there we go, it's back from its marriage. So let's hope there's never a divorce between these two. And you can see a lovely Magno Blue GT R Pro here that's going to go in next. Now after this, the line doesn't actually move that way, the way that the car is facing, it moves back that way. Further work is then done on the engine, and eventually the doors will come back on. Still got my seats to be installed, and my wheels will be done in about an hour too, as you can see being done on this Pro here. Right guys, I love little details with things, right? So we've got the AMG badge. Now you would assume that it would just be straight, but because it's never straight when you apply it to a car, you can see on here, there's a slight curvature to the badge. So if you're ever reapplying one of these on a GT, bear that in mind. It's not completely straight. Make sure you mark where it was before. But I love that, and we've got so many things like that here. We've got the headlights that are going to go on. As you can see, the new facelift ones with the four-door style graphic inside. Steering wheels, and all sorts that are going to go and be fixed on these cars to be finished as an AMG GT. And it's great to see little details like these. You can't see this unless you get behind the scenes with us. And the car is now waiting for everything else to go on. We've got the doors still to happen, the seats are still to come in, obviously the lights, the badges. See the carbon ceramics there. There's my right-hand drive interior. Got carbon fibre trim, of course. Lots still to happen inside here. Of course now we do have our engine. I'm told the engine builder's name is Dominic. Really can't wait to see this thing come to fruition. We've got another GT R Pro here as well, in Magno Brilliant Blue, just like my four-door. Looks absolutely stunning in that. Look at that. Hasn't even got anything on it yet. It looks like an absolute beast. But this is better, let's be honest. Right guys, so some main points that make the GT R Pro the GT R Pro. We're nearly at the end of the production line here. As we showed earlier on, this goes onto the other side and then the final bits are done. But just aerodynamics, let's talk about that. You've got a completely different front end on the GT R Pro, specifically with this section and the much bigger front splitter here with motorsport inspired brackets. This is all carbon fiber as well. I'm going to show you underneath the car later to show you the other struts that have been added. Of course, you get the unique performance wheels, which are in the lighter color. We've got the black carbon ceramics that we showed you before, but things are a bit different in the back as well, where we've got the Project One inspired blades here. Again, it improves the aerodynamics around the car and the downforce that you're getting as well. These are all taped up to protect, again, carbon fiber. We've got the diffuser, which is carbon fiber instead of just being black plastic on the Pro. And what's quite cool is you get, again, GT3, GT4 inspired aluminium brackets for the wing rather than the way that they're just attached on the GTR. And you also get an extra gurney flap at the top of the spoiler as well. Again, balancing the front aerodynamics with the rear aerodynamics. Now, I want to show you some of the carbon fiber struts underneath as well that make the Pro a bit more unique as well. Now, on this station here, the GTR gets something very important, as does the Pro, and that is active aerodynamics. This spoiler moves, and that is what is placed then at the bottom of the car here. And that is one of the key aspects of active aerodynamics in the GTR and the Pro. Right, now one final bit on the Pro that we couldn't appreciate when I drove it at Hockenheim and you couldn't really see otherwise, is something that was made of steel and now it's been replaced by carbon fiber. And that's this carbon fiber shear panel you see up here, and that increases torsional strength. And again, something that's unique to the Pro here. And now this car is almost finished. After this stage, all GTs are taken to the final checking area, as you can see just back there, to be signed off before they're driven to get their first miles at the factory. And here comes a gorgeous finished GTR Pro. It's been so amazing to show you guys the lead up to a finished car like this, some of the highlights from the process. But now, one final bit from my car. So guys, this is the final bit that you're going to see of my car, because I don't want to see it completed. I want to collect it when it's done. And that is the front end going on with the AMG specific grille. You can see again, 2 men, it's all done by hand. No pressure on these guys now as they install this on. And then you get the final look of the GTR Pro. I think this is the bit that's the most fascinating for me, having spec'd the solar beam yellow, just to see what that looks like with the new front end. You can hear it all clicking in place now. See the headlights have gone on as well, as we were showing you earlier. Some changes since we last seen the car. And there we go. Thank you. That looks pretty awesome, doesn't it? So guys, that's the last that we're going to see of my car until I pick it up. So make sure that you subscribe to see when that happens. It's going to be soon. It's been absolutely awesome seeing this, the GT production line, all these talented people here creating these awesome cars. So if you enjoyed the video, please do like, subscribe. A huge, huge thanks to Mercedes AMG and Mercedes Benz for giving me this honor. I really don't feel I deserve it, but I hope through me that you guys have enjoyed this experience, and hopefully we'll get to see more special things like this in the future. So I'm going to just take this in a little bit more on a personal level, and I'll see you guys again soon.